Tonight, we have for the order of business, we have just a planning board meeting tonight, no public hearings. So recognizing a quorum, I'd like to call tonight's meeting of the City of Olean Planning Board into session. Could you read the roll, please?
Reed McElfresh,
Present.
Ray Fay,
Present.
Craig Polson,
Here.
Mark Sabella,
Here.
Tom Barnes.
Here. Okay, next item is the June 27th public hearing minutes. Is there a motion to approve those?
So moved. Second.
Made and seconded. That's Reed, I guess, and Mary.
Yes.
Any corrections or revisions? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
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 Those are carried. Now the June 27th meeting minutes. Is there a motion to approve those?
So move.
Second, please.
Second.
That was Craig and Mary.
Thank you, Mary. The only thing that I saw in there was a typo. The last page, the first paragraph, there's a comma in the middle of a word, so you might want to remove that, but that's minimal. So, any other revisions? Okay, hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, those are carried. Let's see. Do we have any old business that you want to take us through, Carrie?
No, I'll have an item under miscellaneous communications, but no old business at this time.
Okay, thanks. New business, our first presentation by Pepperwood Properties LLC, site plan number 4-22 at 2801 West State Street. Is there somebody here from the applicant to walk us through this?
Yes, Corey's with us.
Corey,
Hello,
welcome.
good evening. Thank you. Appreciate it.
You want to walk us through what you're planning to do?
Absolutely, yes. So we acquired the property, the former Kmart property that has been partially redeveloped for Marshall's and Ollie's Bargain Outlet, and by the former owners, a subsidiary of Seritage, a large, I guess, REIT, whatever, really doesn't matter. But we acquired it a few months ago with the intent to redevelop the last vacant space that remains of the former Kmart location. And we've
So you own the entire building and all
Yes,
of it as well?
correct, yeah, the entire yeah, I can't remember the acreage, but yes, the entire, all the parking lot. And yeah, there is a potential in parcel, I guess, not necessarily street frontage, but next to Staples. And yeah, there's a vacancy in the old garden center area. But yes, that whole shopping center plaza there.
So the existing companies that are in there right now are your tenants then?
That's right. Yeah. Yes. Marshalls and Ollie's are the two tenants on leases for, I think, between 3 and 6 years each, remaining on those leases, plus some options.
Okay, please continue.
So yeah, the last space is roughly 55. Well, the last large space is 55,000 square feet, which is the ideal size for our proposed tenant, Hobby Lobby, which is a national craft, arts, home goods type of retailer. And they would occupy the entire space with very minimal changes. Really, the only changes, well, I guess I'll take a step back with us as landlord. Our responsibility per the lease contract is what we call a shell delivery, but we are going to be improving the parking lot with a full new blacktop and milling and resurfacing a large part of the parking lot to make that all new and and nice. And then they require a recessed dock in the rear for their service, their trucks, their compactor, and the like. And so we'll be having to, that's a bulk of the construction on our end, at least, is digging down and creating a recessed dock in the existing former Kmart dock area, which was at grade, meaning a truck would come in and they'd be low and they need a scissor lift to bring product into. And Hobby Lobby's product just too heavy, too significant to make that really work for them. So they need a recessed dock such that they can take product directly from the truck into the store.
So is this the, I'm looking at the plan and there's a little notch in the back of the building about halfway across the west. Is that where that dock is going to be? Or is it the two docks on the eastern end of the building? You're going to change one of those to a recessed dock.
Yeah, they're existing. So I'm trying to picture, it's not all the way on the east side. The east, well, let's see, let me make sure we got my north compass right. We're not really adding onto the building at all. So it is right now, or digging in the site. So I guess there is a little notch. Yeah, there's a notch there. Yeah. So it just further from Ollie's. It's on I guess the left side if you're looking at the store. It's from the front. It's in that back notch. But there's existing roll-up doors and everything there now. So really all we're doing is literally just recessing it. There's really not there's not much building construction from that perspective. It's going to be
There are, on the eastern end of the building, there are two angled loading areas. Are you talking about those? Or is it actually on the back side of the building?
the backside. You must be, I guess, east side. So I think those the ones you're referring to that are angled are for Marshalls.
Right. So it must be the one on the backside.
Yeah, it's in the back, about midpoint. To your point, yeah. I guess I'm just so focused on that 55,000 square feet, the end of the. I guess it's,
Right.
it's on the east side of that side, but in midpoint of the building. Yes.
It makes more sense because that would be the easiest way to access the eastern end of the building where the Hobby Lobby would be located.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, it's a nice rectangle / square over there. That's really where they're going to be. So it does set up very nicely for their floor plan. There's not any long corridors or things like that happen sometimes in these buildings as we redevelop them. So yeah, it's a pretty nice fit.
The reason why I asked that question is right now there's a nice stormwater retention pond in back of the building.
Sure.
And there are a couple of spillways or troughs that lead from the paved area in back of the building, so that all the stormwater that comes off the roof and off the back of the building goes into that stormwater pond. So my question is, will the new loading dock, as it's constructed, will that have any impact on the flow of stormwater into that stormwater pool?
No, there won't be any new impervious surface back there. So, the existing impervious will match the impervious. Obviously, as we recess the pavement, there will be water going into the dock, and there will be a pump that will take that water to the same stormwater facility there at the same volume. Because we're just replacing impervious with impervious, and in fact, yeah. I don't think we're adding any impervious. We actually may be having less impervious, but yeah, it's certainly very, very minimal change to impervious surface to where that would impact drainage from the current state.
Well, our code enforcement officer will be looking over the plans in depth. So I'm assuming that, the way you're describing it, there should be no issues, but it still is incumbent upon us to ask you those questions about stormwater. So
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, that's one of the first things we always look at because it's, as time changes, you know, standards could change. And so that's one of the first things we research. And yeah, we had our engineers and architects were well aware of what the requirements were as per their design.
Right.
I'm sure that we're in great shape.
And in terms of the exterior of the building, the only changes you're going to be making are in the entryway and the trim along the facade and on the eastern end of the building.
Right. Yeah. So for exterior, like I said, most of it's, right, I guess it's neither here nor there for you guys, but Hobby Lobby actually does a lot of their own work because they know how to build their store, right? So yeah, there'll be all new facade, all new storefront, meaning the glass, the sliding doors, their sign van with their logo colors and, their trade dress that's, standard across the country. So that'll all get new faces, new skin. I mentioned the new parking areas, new sidewalks, all along the front facade. The sides, the building's in actually pretty darn good shape for its age. There's, some downspouts in the back, and there was some CMU block had some water intrusion over the years. So we'll be replacing some of that, making sure we're fully watertight. The roof's in great condition because it was redeveloped along with the Marshalls and Ollie's. So that roof is in really great shape. So we won't really need to do much there. So it'll be, it's a full gut, inside, in terms of demolition, and they'll put all new ceiling, all new HVAC units, all new HVAC units. It'll be a brand new retail store that they'll be proud of, everyone will be proud of for at least a decade to come, probably many more after that. But a lot of it's going to be inside and a nice new facade in the front and a new parking lot. So I think it'll be a really nice addition.
The pole lighting on the outside and any lighting on the building, will that all be night sky compliant?
It'll certainly be code compliant. Night sky, I'm not completely up to speed on that component, but yes, the heads have already been changed out, and I think the building lights will, they'll be whatever code complies with, or they will comply with code by design. Certainly will be new on the building for sure.
And we're trying to get as much downward shielding as possible for these developments.
Sure, understood.
Yeah. Well, the last question I had about it was the site plan doesn't show a location for the dumpster. Where are you going to be putting that?
Yeah, so they don't have a dumpster. They actually have a compactor, and the compactor will line up right along the back of the building, and there'll be a square, where you'll actually throw the trash through the wall to the compactor. So that'll be in the dock area right next to where the truck would pull up. So the service area is all in that back dock area.
So a truck will come along and pick that up then?
That's right. Yeah, they'll pull the compactor, but they like the compactor because they have very little wet waste. It's all boxes, it's dry waste. And so they don't have to come very often with those compactors because they just, and it's several, they may only have to come a couple times a month, depending on how much product they move. So.
Okay. Board, those were all my questions. What else from the board?
I don't have any questions. I think it looks great.
Yeah.
Exciting to get that property up to looking really nice.
Yeah, Jerry, Craig?
No questions for me, Tom.
Nope, I'm good.
That's Mark.
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks.
Yeah. Okay. Well, no,
Tom, do you want me to go into the report by code enforcement, and then I can give an update on departments?
yeah, sure.
Okay. The application and all corresponding materials were sent to the DPW divisions for their review. So we will have those comments back and sent out into the next meeting packet prior to the next meeting on the 26th of September. And then Ryan did a memorandum or Code Enforcement Officer Reed, regarding his review of the plans. And he found the parking to be consistent along, with the number and ADA compliance. The spaces are code compliant with the 9x20. The ingress and egress, to the building and parking lot is, appropriate. He notes the catch basins, the storm drainage, and has done a sign off on all of that. And he's explaining about the lighting being currently existent. And then the compactor area where that garbage will be provided. The green space around the site exceeds the 10% minimum requirement. And the signage on the pole is currently existing, and any proposed signage will be met with a sign permit, which the applicant is aware of, in a separate process beyond the board. And it'll, of course, meet the city sign laws. And then he's noting about the 3 private hydrants on this property. So this appears to be in really great shape for the entire project.
Is there green space around the stormwater retention pond? Is that where the 10% comes from?
They own to the west of it too, the property
Right.
lines to the west,
Correct, it's the overall, both, but yes, that is inclusive.
like towards Park Street.
Lands to the west would be in the town of Allegheny, right?
Yep, what's in the
Alright.
city's counted.
Still in the city to the edge of the road.
And so that's my update.
Okay,
That's good.
I'm assuming we're going to do an uncoordinated review for seeker.
Correct.
Well, you've already sent around the short form. So if you'd like to walk us through that, Carrie?
Do we want to make any motions or?
Yeah, I guess we have to declare ourselves lead agent for an uncoordinated seeker review. Is there a motion for that?
Motion.
Second, please.
Second.
Okay, no, go ahead, Craig.
Okay, Mark and Craig. Discussion.
Bush,
Thank you.
Let's see.
All in favor,
So we
say
have,
aye. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that's carried. Now,
so we have the part 1 project and sponsor information. And then we go into question 1. Does the proposed action only involve the legislative adoption of a plan, local law, ordinance, administrative rule, or regulation? That's marked no. 2, does the proposed action require permit, approval, or funding from any other government agency? If yes, list agency. That is marked yes, and it's the planning board and code enforcement are noted. 3, the total acreage of the site of the proposed action in its entirety is 11.62 acres. The acreage to be physically disturbed only consists of 0.10 acres. And number 4, check all land uses that occur on or adjoining or near the proposed action. Commercial was marked.
Should we mark urban?
and residential.
Residential.
And urban.
Urban and residential suburban are now marked, noted. You're welcome. 5, is the proposed action A, a permitted use under the zoning regulations? That's marked yes. B, consistent with the adopted comprehensive plan? That's marked yes. 6, is the proposed action consistent with the predominant character of the existing built or natural landscape? That's marked yes. 7, is the site of the proposed action located in or does it adjoin a state listed critical environmental area? That's marked no. 8A, will the proposed action result in a substantial increase in traffic above present levels? That's marked no. B, are public transportation services available at or near the site of the proposed action? That's marked yes. C, any pedestrian accommodations or bicycle routes available on or near the site of the proposed action? That's marked yes. 9, does the proposed action meet or exceed the state energy code requirements? That's marked no. 10, will the proposed action result to an existing public-private water supply? That's marked yes. 11.
Shouldn't question 9 be marked yes?
Oh, I'm sorry, which number?
Number 9,
Yes,
It should be marked yes, right?
It is a
Correct.
confusing question.
Yep, I'm sorry. Yes, yes, and yes. Duly noted for the revision to number 9. Okay. Sorry, number 11, will the proposed action connect to existing wastewater utilities? That's marked yes. 12A, does the project site contain or is it substantially contiguous to a building, archaeological site, or district which is listed on the National or State Register of Historic Places, or that has been determined by the Commissioner of the Office of Parks, Rec, and Historic Preservation to be eligible for listing on the State Register of Historic Places? That's marked no. B, is the project site or any portion of it located in or adjacent to an area designated as sensitive for archaeological sites on the New York State Historic Preservation Archaeological Site? That's marked yes. Does any portion of the site of the proposed action or lands adjoining the proposed action contain wetlands or other water bodies regulated by a federal, state, or local agency? That's marked yes.
Now,
Would the
what,
proposed action physically alter, encroach into any existing wetland or water body? That's marked no.
let's talk about that 13A. What is the water body that we're talking about here?
Is the river?
Oh, we were just talking about the stormwater retention pond.
Is that what you had in mind, Corey?
It's relating to body of water.
Federal, state,
Yes,
local
13A.
agency? Is it federal, local, or state agency?
Yeah, I mean, I would say I'm okay with it because it's up to code enforcement and DPW to make sure the stormwater retention pond is sufficient for the site, similar to like the Dollar General. That's what I was assuming Corey was
That's-
talking about, but
That's a different issue from this,
Yeah.
whether or not there's regulation by an agency, you know? I mean, normally a stormwater retention pond would not be regulated by a federal, state, or local agency.
Sure, yeah, that probably doesn't meet the intent of the question of what we selected is probably no.
So the reason why it says yes, I'm assuming that's because of the river adjacency? Or is that too far away? Do you recall why it was answered yes? Or maybe it should be answered no?
I'm leaning towards the latter, what you just said. But yeah, I think we just wanted to be careful just to make sure that because there is some level of watershed in the area, but I don't know how adjacent it is.
Well, the key element is whether or not it's a regulated body of water.
Right.
Seems to me it should be no. I
Is
can't
it
imagine
Jardini's
the
pond?
retention pond being.
hey, so
regulated.
it's probably the proximity to Jardini's pond,
But
if you
but
look at
again,
the
that-
rear.
but again, that's not regulated, right?
Right, so I think what Corey's saying is let's change it to no.
Right.
Because I was under the mindset of ponds, and I agree with all of you, that's DEC regulated. not us. And yeah, DEC does regulate for permitting,
For GRD.
for Jardini's, yeah.
That's the active gravel site.
Yep, so I mean, you could look at it either way, I don't know.
Well, if DEC is regulating Jardini's pond, then I guess we could leave it yes.
That's the active gravel side, is to that side behind that building.
Right.
That's it, yep. Yeah, because Tom, if you look at even the front page of the site plan, you can see Jardini's pond on it,
Yeah.
Is it adjoining though?
their land is, yeah.
It is.
Yeah, I mean, Reed
Yeah,
hasn't
there's
pulled
a
up
strip
on
of land that goes, and then gargoyle separates the two sides of GRD's.
Yeah, I see.
And I think on one of the plans, it shows Giardini owns the land right behind it.
Yeah.
You know, usually a body of water has to be designated as a regulated body of water, as opposed to Jardini's, which is a gravel pit, which is,
And isn't it private?
what they're regulating is
You
the
have that.
gravel. They're not regulating it as a water body. Do you see this distinction there?
Yep,
But, I mean, I'm okay with either way, so long as we we don't feel that it's gonna have any environmental impact for that, which it shouldn't really.
Right, I guess that's our thought too, is, yeah, we're not, certainly not changing any existing condition that would negatively impact any adjacencies at all. In fact, probably improving. I wouldn't think it changes anything, but I think we probably click yes just to be careful.
Right?
So are we okay with leaving it as it is, everybody?
I guess if it's
Yes.
a permitted area, has to be. Then
Yes.
leave it, yes.
Right,
Yeah.
guys?
Yeah.
Alright, so,
Okay, well, let's push on then.
okay. 14, identify the typical habitat types that occur on or are likely to be found on the project site. Check all that apply, and suburban was checked.
Probably check urban as well.
Alright, noting that change. 15, does the site of the proposed action contain any species of animal or associated habitats listed by the state or federal government as threatened or endangered? That's marked yes. As you'll see, he went to and utilized the EAF mapper, so it's the blue breast darter and long head darter. And then 16 is the project site located in the 100-year floodplain, marked no. 17, will the proposed action create stormwater discharge either from point or non-point sources? It's marked yes. Will stormwater discharges flow to adjacent properties? That's marked no. Will stormwater discharges be directed to establish conveyance systems, runoff and storm drains? It's marked yes. And it is to an existing retention pond.
Also, there are catch basins in the parking lot, true, right?
Yes,
They go into the city system.
yes,
Okay, so we could add that in there too.
noted. 18, does the proposed action include construction or other activities that would result in the impoundment of water or other liquids? That's marked yes. The example is the existing retention pond. 19, has the site of the proposed action or an adjoining property been the location of an active or closed solid waste management facility? That's marked no. 20, has the site of the proposed action or an adjoining property been the subject of remediation ongoing or completed for hazardous waste? That's marked no.
Okay, great. Everybody okay with part one?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
We turn to part two. Carrie's completed this, and you note that for the 11 questions, she's answered no impact or small impact. Is there any of those that you'd like to see changed?
No.
You can go through those.
No, we typically don't go through. Do you want me to?
No, I'm just gonna give the board a minute to
Oh,
just sort
sorry.
of look down through them, see if there's anything that you want to talk about.
Kathy, can you turn that on? Yeah. Are you having trouble hearing?
mm-mm.
You're the first one.
I'm not hearing anything, so I can see no comments.
No, I'm good.
Good.
So I would entertain a motion to make a finding that the project will not pose any significant adverse environmental impact, and accordingly to authorize the issuance of a negative declaration for the project.
Moved.
Second.
JR and Reed.
I didn't catch who they were, JR and Reed.
JR and Reed.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? That's carried. Carrie, sign my name to that and initial it for me.
Will do.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
At this point, I'll entertain a motion to make a finding that we have a completed application submitted.
So moved.
Second,
Mark and Mary.
Mark and Mary, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? That's carried. Okay, now to set the date for a public hearing on this. That would be 2 weeks from tonight, which will be the 26th at 6:30. Does that work for you, Corey?
Yes.
Okay, great. Before we take a motion on that, Carrie, could you explain the notification requirements?
Yeah, absolutely. So by Wednesday morning, Kathy Monroe from our office will be emailing you a public hearing packet. It'll consist of a memorandum with instructions. It will be a radius as prepared by our assessor's office with a list of addresses that you send the correspondence to. So it'll be, the only part that you'll prepare is you say to the property owner from you, brief description of the project, and you mail out that notification via regular USPS mail by Friday. And then there will be a certification form that you'll just sign, doesn't need to be notarized, and that you can return to Kathy or to me, just saying that you did it. And that's it.
And that'll come through email?
It will.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Now I'll entertain a motion to set the public hearing for the 26th at 6:30 PM.
So moved. Second.
Made and seconded. Is that Reed and JR?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's carried. So Corey, we'll see you in 2 weeks then.
Okay, great. Thank you for your time, everyone. We'll see you soon. I'll look out for the email.
Yep, you can sign off now.
Appreciate it.
Okay,
Thanks, Corey.
Hello.
See you.
okay, let's continue with our agenda. Let's see. Miscellaneous communications.
Yeah, at the beginning of the meeting, I said I had one item. I actually have three. So just a reminder, I believe Kathy's been following up with some members about completing your annual harassment training. So we can get that in. There will be 2 new applications forthcoming. I do believe they should be in time for our September 26th meeting. And both applications will be for separate projects by Ellicott Development. We're just waiting for those to come in and for us ample time to review prior to members receiving it in case there will be any changes. So, and then the other item is the local law and resolution that was provided to members in their packet. Kathy's been working with Tiffany Taylor. She's our counsel and legal clerk, and the council recently adopted that local law. So she's done the research with Tiffany and has worked with her to prepare the resolution for the planning board's review, discussion, and adoption, and she can explain it from there.
Yes, the city's just getting prepared for when the state of emergency is being lifted. So when that's lifted, then we want to be able to have the planning board still attend virtually if necessary. So if we adopt this resolution, you would have to not count as a quorum, a member of the quorum, but you can vote and your vote will be counted.
So
I just have a question.
Makes sense.
right now, we have 3 members who are attending virtually. So we wouldn't have a quorum in this case.
Correct, if the state of emergency is lifted by the governor, yes.
So there'd only be 3 members attending, but we would be able to vote, but there wouldn't be a quorum there.
Correct. And you would have to let them know ahead of time, 5 days in advance, that you have extenuating circumstances that you wouldn't be able to attend in person.
How could you vote if you're not present? If,
Because you're not counting towards the
Because
quorum.
he'll still be, someone would still be on the Zoom link, like they're just right now voting, but they wouldn't count towards a quorum.
There's no quorum in the
oh,
room.
unless it's executive session.
So it has to be a quorum in this room.
If there's no quorum, the vote don't matter anyways.
So and this is the local law that was passed by the common council, it says that under extraordinary circumstances, including disability or illness, that there must be, extraordinary circumstances must be certified by mail. Do they truly mean certified by mail?
That is what the council adopted in
It says
our,
or
proce-
email, so how do you certify email?
in our procedures, we had that you just notify our office 5 days in advance.
I guess my other question is, why do we have to have something separate? Why can't whatever Olean adopts, that any board underneath the purview of the city should just abide by this? Why do we
Yes,
have to
the
have
way
a
that-
separate one?
The way it's written is that each board had to adopt their own
Each
procedures.
board has their own procedures and quorum counts and voting procedures.
Right,
Kind of duplicative.
because if the OLDC has 9 members or 10,
Well, we
and so
would-
this one has 7, and we have to do it too.
And slightly different because we're technically like quasi cities.
Yeah, and same with the
That
urban
would
renewal
actually be quite
agency
different.
and,
You
I
think
can see some
also that the
areas where
ZBA would
having
be,
everyone in person makes more sense.
Yes, they
Whereas
also have to
It makes sense for us to have the.
do the exact same resolution and adopt procedures also, the
Let me make
ZBA
some
does.
quorum here.
well, I have to admit that I'm not crazy about the fact that you can only count as toward the quorum if you're if you're present physically. I
Yeah,
mean,
that doesn't make sense if you're allowed to vote.
That's what I just said. How can that be?
I assume the city attorney was involved in the creation of this.
yes.
Yes,
I believe it's the state that provided the
Yes.
template.
yeah, the template's from the state.
So that makes more sense in this.
Yes, it does.
It is New York State. This doesn't go hand in hand.
Yes,
Seriously?
like we didn't write it, it was an actual template that they gave us
I
to
would
like fill in your
suggest
board.
You contact the mayor's organization and also the State Department of State and ask for clarification on that, because it would make a lot more sense if we could
Yeah.
count Zoomers toward the quorum.
Okay, so we can have Kathy reach out to NICOM and DOS and ask for clarification on those 2 points.
Yeah,
Okay,
All right, and then we'll just table the subject and adopting it for now.
right.
Is there any chance the state of emergency will be shut down before our next meeting?
I don't know, that's up to the
it
governor.
could be lifted. I think Tiffany said the date was the 13th when it would expire, but they expect it to be
Oh, yeah, tomorrow.
extended. Yes,
right.
the 13th is when it expires.
Should we adopt this as is and then change it later? Is that an option?
No. I wouldn't recommend adopting anything until we have an agreement of the board on it. And have our questions answered.
Yeah, I'm fine with that, and I mean, if need be, we go back to old practices, and if we don't have a quorum, we don't have a quorum. We don't meet until we are able to establish one.
Right. Okay.
When is the state of emergency expected to be lifted?
Tomorrow is when it runs out.
Okay.
But,
Yeah, monkeypox, so they're probably gonna extend.
but
Sure,
the
I think it will
Didn't
be
she already
extended.
declare one on that?
governor could,
Yeah, we're under 3 states of
I say
emergency.
she already declared a state of emergency on monkeypox. so
Right, so,
You're still gonna,
there's
that one's
probably
not
still
gonna get
gonna
lifted
be-
tomorrow.
And polio, right?
And polio.
and polio.
I don't know, I don't keep up with it, to be honest, about where she's at on putting us into those.
We just want to be ahead of it.
you have another item that you want to talk about?
Now, those are my big 3.
What were they, the harassment training, this resolution, what was the third one?
The alligator development, she said.
Yeah, there'll be a couple of different applications forthcoming for our next meeting under new business.
Gotcha. That's the Center Mall?
No, Ellicott is formerly known as Park Center Development.
What are they doing?
Carl Country.
One will be a housing project and the other one will be commercial development with a couple of different buildings, and both projects will be located on West State Street.
Very exciting.
Yes.
All right.
What's all the excavation going on across, in North Olean, across from Napoleon?
That's the Brownfield
Remediation.
cleanup program, and that's MJ Painting. It is actually, I mean, Tom was on the Brownfield committee with us back in '03. And Craig, did you attend back then?
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah.
Mark, okay, I knew there was another planning board member, all right, so that is actually the dirtiest site in the city of Olean that he's
Well,
cleaning
yeah,
up.
I mean, that hole, I think they're digging to China.
Yeah, they're digging stories down,
Wow.
yeah,
Oh, God.
and it's to remove the tanks and what they buried back in that common practice, unfortunately, so and it's funny, I live in that area, so I think it's great. I met with Mike a little bit ago and he's like, oh, I'm just continuing to clean up the neighborhood. Like, very nonchalant. This is a 2-year process, dirtiest land of the city,
They're
so,
drilling even deeper.
yeah, yep, so,
They
I
got
mean,
like a
God
6
bless
foot,
them.
they got like a 6 foot diameter auger bit they're drilling. And them towers, you see is a batch plant and they're pushing concrete down in.
Yeah, it's really,
Wow.
unique process compared to some of the other brownfield cleanups that have occurred, and even on the other side of the interstate from where he expanded to when you guys did the review on that, so it's really neat to see, just me driving by it on a daily basis to see the progress, but it'll be into next year.
So we'll look at him to be out here in 2024.
Yes, actually, yep, yeah, it'll all come before you guys then.
Just out of curiosity, somebody told me today that these Pepperwood people that we had on our agenda earlier today, they're already doing some parking lot work down there. Have you heard about that?
Yeah, they have, yep, and code enforcement's aware.
What are they doing there? Are they doing the milling or what?
Yeah, they did milling and paving
I see.
Where was that?
in the parking
In
lot.
the old Kmart, they
The old
just
Kmart.
repaved.
Oh,
chunk of
yeah.
it.
Yeah, it was really bad, and code's aware, and they followed the proper steps for the repairs.
It's gonna be a nice lot there, block.
Normally people will start work before they get our approval, so that's the reason I brought that up.
But they have tenants in there now, so.
They do, yeah. It was, the condition was deplorable, really.
Who owns the egress at the light? Who owns that, that driveway going back to the Kmart?
They bought everything.
Okay. Are they gonna fix that?
I would hope so.
I
Yeah.
hope so too.
Yeah, from when there was that break,
Yeah, when it was breaking, it's really
and whoever repaired it
really
months ago,
deteriorated
and,
at the end there.
yeah, it was gravel for quite some time, and now
Yeah.
it's just, I don't even know what that is that they put down.
Well, even where the manhole cover is, it's really like starting to cave in.
Yep, I can make mention of that, to code enforcement.
Okay.
Yeah, it's nice seeing that whole area that become alive again.
Wow, that's gonna be huge right there.
Yeah.
Okay, any other business?
No,
Okay, we next meet on the 26th, 6:30 for the public hearing. Planning board meeting right afterward. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
JR, Craig,
Quick and read.
Sure, great.
all in favor, say aye.
I raised my hands at him.
Aye.
Some combination thereof.
yeah,
Okay, I guess we stand adjourned then.
Thank you.
thank you,
Sam.
everyone.
Hey, thanks. See everyone.
Thanks, have a good night.
Good night.
See you.